What ruins a movie instantly? When the two main characters fall in love quickly, especially if they start out hating each other. Most recently, Jungle Cruise. It would have been a good movie without them falling in love. They could have just been friends. Background actors in fight/war scenes waiting for their turn to attack the main character. JCVD did a pilot for an Amazon original show that talked about this. He's playing a version of himself in it, but he is also a super spy that uses his acting gig as a reason to be in the places he needs to do spy stuff in. Weak, I know, but read on. He arrives on a movie set where the director tells him this movie isn't going to be like the old school ones he is used to, where all the bad guys wait their turn to get beat up by him. Later on, when he's doing spy stuff, a bunch of real guards catch him and they all rush in. Wait. One guard says, stopping the others. If we all attack him at once, we'll bump into each other and stuff and it will get really hectic. We should go in one at a time. All the guards agree, and JCVD smiles knowingly, thinking the fight just got a lot easier. The first guard rolls up and utterly annihilates him, just full on beats his ass. It was hilarious. That show was so amazing, still mad they cancelled it. Shitty fight scenes where I can barely tell what I'm looking at. People taking turns attacking. Very realistic. Gotta do it like Kingsman, where the guy kills 51 people in 3 minutes or so in a cramped and chaotic building, yet you can constantly tell what's going on because of the superb camera work. Yeah, some movies have really stylish action and it's brilliant, others just add the shaky cam onto it and call it a day. When the trailer reveals the entire story. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 done this and I really hated it for it. When they repeat the same sentence February 3, 2010 times in the story for no reason, just to have a kind of motto. I just want to tell you both good luck, and we're all counting on you. When the characters have the misunderstanding and break apart trope. Then they come back together to resolve conflict. I'm so sick of it, especially when the misunderstanding could easily be avoided in the moment if they just saw the simple solution staring at them in the face. And the breakup sadness is always at the same point in the movie runtime. I'm thinking, good job writers, you remembered to consult the movie romance cheat sheet. The ordeal in the hero's journey. They are literally following the cheat sheet. That's mine also. No matter if they're a romantic couple, family members, or friends, the whole misunderstanding leads to contrived anger trope is just awful. When it's so dark you actually can't see what is happening. Also characters that mumble their lines. Drives me nuts. Especially when it's only dark to illustrate that the story is dark. Cheap as fuck. The nighttime scenes in Lord of the Rings will always be the best dark scene because they actually wanted us to still be able to see what the heck was happening. I heard someone challenged Peter Jackson on set, asking where is the light coming from in this scene, and he's supposed to have replied the same place the music is coming from. Sometimes I wonder if the two dark scenes are caused by the production staff having too good monitors. With my old TV in a dark room, those scenes look pretty amazing. Then watching the same scene on an LCD TV, they just look like garbage. The compression when you stream it doesn't help either. Main characters being invincible while everyone else dies from one punch. I get that the main characters have to survive or they wouldn't be main characters, but at least make the damage somewhat realistic. That's why I like The Punisher. It shows him getting his ass beat sometimes. And it shows him struggling after getting beat up. But it also shows him overcoming that and winning, because he can take more of a beating than his opponent. Daredevil as well. They constantly showed him getting the living shit beat out of him. Started watching this with my kids. My son and I absolutely hate when in movies the hero gets hit in the face with a bat, but somehow jumps up okay when his whole face would be shattered. Breaking the rules they set. The rules of your universe can be as batshit as you like, but once established they should be followed. If an established rule is broken, characters should at least notice that shit isn't right. This is exactly why it was annoying when someone points out a plot hole or gap in logic in Game of Thrones. People would always say the show has dragons in it and you're worried about that? Like, yeah, dragons are part of the world, but things still need to make sense. Dragons causing real-world issues like how much cattle they were feeding on was mentioned once and then never mentioned again. You would think 3 adult dragons would be devastating to farmers wherever her army traveled. Imagine a huge dragon shit falling on your house. I didn't until this very moment, but it sure made me laugh. I kind of felt this way about Jurassic World. It appeared the main dinosaur was written in by a child, with ever-expanding powers. 1. He's a T-Rex. 2. Oh good, we can track him down. 1. No he's invisible too. 2: Thank goodness we have thermal imaging. 1. Maybe he can cover that up too? 2. At least it's solo. 1. Yeah, about that. Bruh. I mean, it hid from infrared, so naturally we shall go into its enclosure to investigate. Before receiving tracker info on where it is was some real dumb shit, no argument there. But its ever-expanding arsenal of powers wouldn't have been so bad if it had used them more than once each. I guess once you try to imagine more scenes where it makes use of its camouflage, you realize that a creature that shakes the earth with each step so you can hear it coming from a mile away actually makes for a pretty poor stealth assassin. The tendency those kinds of creatures have to pop out of nowhere and save the day in this franchise notwithstanding. The invisibility powers are bullshit of the highest order. Jurassic World is a theme park/zoo. An invisible animal is worse than worthless as it consumes resources and gives the guest nothing. That shit would have been weeded out as an infant as they produced an animal with beautiful bird of paradise colors. Forced romance. Sometimes movies don't need it and that's okay. Also forced teen angst. I hate movies and TV shows where the world is ending and everyone's fighting for their lives, but the teen characters are still angry at their parents just for existing. I do love it when films subvert expectations and the 2 lead characters don't end up together, or just stay really good friends or something. The romances are almost always too shallow. Born out of shared trauma more than actual compatibility. Nothing suggesting an actual healthy relationship. This is why Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock base their relationship on sex instead in Speed. Whispered dialogue, ear-shattering action sequences. Living in an apartment and actually care to not piss off my neighbors, the volume spikes and drops kill me. Movie makers could at least pay me if they're going to make me do all the audio engineering in real time. Makes a good movie nearly unwatchable. When people figure out someone's password in literally no time. When they look at various things around the desk and that clues them into the password. That's why my password is picture frame. We've got their password. I'll get started hacking their mainframe. Let me just use Visual Basic to whip up a GUI. Also, whenever some scientist gives the main character precisely 1 USB stick with critical, world-saving data on it. Come on. Flash storage is cheap, duplicate it a few times so society doesn't collapse when he drops it. Hand out a gift basket full to all 5 members of the party. First attempt, literally types whatever the fuck comes to mind. Fails. Second attempt, tries to put more thought into it. Fails again. Last attempt, looks around. Has a flashback. Then tries to connect the dots as the background music starts to get more intense. Finally figures it out. When they whisper a super important point of the story, and you miss it and feel confused for the rest of the movie. You mean when the dialogue is 6 decibels so you turn it up and then the next random explosion at 387 decibels wakes up your neighbors and makes your ears bleed? I recently discovered my Roku has a sound leveling mode where it brings up quiet stuff and lowers loud stuff. It's not super strong but pleasantly helps a bit. The problem is the bad sound levelers actually make things worse. My cheap TV has one that I can't turn off and everything will get really quiet. The only way to hear is then to turn it up. But then the leveler will make it quieter again, until it suddenly decides it's going on break and wakes up my roommate. Running through wilderness in heels for the majority of a movie. Irk significant other me. Yes, especially when you think of the fact that walking across soft grass in heels can be difficult. But running across mountainous rocky terrain in heels equals absolutely no problem apparently. I've seen movies where the solution is apparently to cut or hack off the heel part of the high-heeled shoe, like that's magically going to make it into a flat shoe. No. That all the major issues could be solved by a simple conversation, but instead no, I don't have time to explain, leading to forced conflict from misunderstanding. Let me explain. Pause no, is too much. Let me sum up. Except he actually does sum it up well and they make a decent plan from it lol. One of my favorite things about The Princess Bride, more so in the novel than in the movie, but this specific one is prominent there too, is the way every character believes something about themselves that is shown to be just plain wrong. Vizzini believes he's a genius, he's a dolt. Humperdinck believes he's brave, he's a coward. Fezzik believes he's wrong about everything, and while his understanding is simple, his inclinations are almost always correct. And Inigo Montoya believes that he's just a hired sword who is incapable of making a plan. So how do we get into the castle to find the six-fingered man? We need the man in black, so here's a detailed step-by-step plan to find him and free him and get him back on his feet. Beautiful. This was also done in The Wizard of Oz. The lion was brave, the scarecrow was smart, and the Tin Man cared very deeply for the other three. But Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man. That he didn't already have. I've never heard this explanation for the movie. Now you've made me appreciate and love this movie even more. It's inconceivable. Or when the character seems to intentionally say something in a way to cause the misunderstanding. It reminds me Game of Thrones when Jon Snow visits the Free Folk to ask them to join the fight against the White Walkers. Free Folk warrior asks, how Mance Rayder, the leader of the Free Folk, died? Jon Snow, I killed him. Everybody in the room goes crazy and they want to kill Jon Snow right now, throwing all the negotiation out of the table until someone intervenes and explains that Jon Snow actually killed Mance out of mercy with an arrow in his heart because Mance was being burned alive by someone else. It would have made much more sense if he had said from the very beginning that it was a mercy kill, but no, it's much better to say something without any context just to cause some drama in the show. Ah yes, I know of this one. Too many plots revolving around characters simply not talking to each other. Is it not possible in movies to just call or text someone and work out a misunderstanding? I guess there's no other way to drag out conflict for an entire movie. In superhero movies, when the balance of someone's abilities constantly changes. Especially in fight scenes when a character could end the fight in 2 seconds, but that doesn't allow for an epic battle scene, so instead that character just randomly decided to avoid using their most valuable abilities. This completely takes me out of the moment. The Flash series lost me because of this issue. Literally every fight with a non-speedster would be over in 0.2 seconds. They show him in one EP feeling a bullet hit him and then dodging. In another EP he goes into flash time where he is moving/thinking so fast that a nuclear explosion is happening in super slow motion. Also the Flash, random villain runs around a corner. Oh no, he got away. Cisco, I lost her. Barry, she just went downstairs, she's gone. Cisco. Every single speedster movie, series, or comic is bad for exactly this reason. Their power cannot be matched. They have to fall through plot hole after plot hole for there to be a story at all. I am the fastest man alive, except for every villain I meet. I am the fastest man alive. Loses their speed to gamma radiation for the 7,298th time this week. I knew very little about the Flash until I watched the show. I began to realize how overpowered speed is. Literally nothing should be able to beat him. His fastest speed, 13 trillion times faster than the speed of light. He beat instant teleportation on the other side of the universe. But some non-meta dude with a ice gun beats him multiple times? Get out of here. I was bored one day reading up on the Flash. He's ridiculous. Also processes thoughts insanely fast where he can view the world as if time has stopped. Can learn anything. He's super intelligent. He rivals Brainiac. It's insane what the Flash could do, haha. He can punch stronger than the Hulk if he gets momentum, I think I read. The old Justice League animated show handled this pretty well. The Flash is very clearly just dicking around pretty much all the time. Edit. I also like that they show in JLU that the Flash is basically a superpowered social worker who considers his real job to be taking care of and improving his community. Not sure about the specifics, but I remember everyone else being down for the count and the Flash is like, let's do this, and then literally hits him from all directions while running around the world to gather speed. Shit is badass. Oh yeah, that was when Lex Luthor merged with Brainiac to form an ultimate being and Flash hits him so hard and fast that he's like ripping Brainiac parts off at a molecular level. In the episode where the Flash swaps minds with Lex and Lex is using Flash's powers to a dangerous degree. Red Tornado says something like that was incredibly dangerous and Green Lantern says that's why the real Flash never does it. Flash is always holding back because he knows what can happen if he doesn't. You are thinking of his fight against Luthor with Brainiac tech. Funny thing is that Luthor thought Flash was being a coward and running away. Only for him to turn away from the direction Flash went to see him appearing on the horizon behind Luthor. I like how they figured out the Flash could think at super speed after years of running at super speed. How does he react if he's not thinking at super speed? He would have ran into everything. It's so stupid it's funny. In the CW show they show him reading a book in a second early on in the series, implying that he can read and think at that speed also, and yet conflict still exists. I like the idea that he has thousands of thoughts in a millisecond and every single one of them is stupid. Thousands of thoughts per millisecond and not one of them is what if I just went faster this time. Cringy and inappropriate use of Gen Z slang. Characters that are brought back alive just to keep the show moving. Supernatural would like a word. My first thought is well somehow it took me until their mom was revived for me to notice. I wasn't thrilled when the mom came back. To me, it decreased the value of the show. The brothers went how long without their mother, she's been dead for X amount of time, but can pick up where she left off when it comes to hunting skills, and her and Sam seem to become close so to speak. The way she was portrayed in the show was like another John, always hunting, hardly around and lacking major parenting skills. Yes, the brothers were grown when she resurrected but her attempts to be a mother was inconsistent. Significant other meow, Palpatine returned. They might as well have just called the movie that. Star Wars Episode 9, somehow Palpatine returned. Showing and then telling anyway / treating the audience like idiots. Or when the big reveal happens, and then they have to give you flashbacks to the other moments in this short movie that foreshadow the reveal. When you know an actor was chosen for the role for their fame and not for the casting. Edit, fixed a word. But holy moly, it seems like lots of people also hate this. Hear that, movie studios? We hate this. This is killing the careers of genuine voice actors. I don't want to spend the entire animated movie trying to figure out which characters Dwayne Johnson, Chris Pratt, Rihanna and Ryan Reynolds are voicing. Just give me genuine, good voice actors who aren't just using their everyday fucking voice edit. Seems a lot of people agree, although perhaps unfair for me to include Pratt and DJ since they're not half bad, even though they already get more than enough work elsewhere. We'll just replace them with James Corden, who I think we can agree is an insufferable turd. When there's a scene that's just advertising a brand. Lol, I love when movie characters open up Bing instead of Google. And they do it on their Surface tablets. We've got to save the city from the monsters coming out of Pizza Hut, the place where no one out pizzas the hut. What does he do if he gets locked in a car? Does he eat himself to death? The Transformers franchise will always have the most jarring product placement for me. My favorites are the "this material can form into anything at all" changes to shot of Beats Pill full frame and Marky Mark cracking open a cold one in the middle of a firefight for absolutely zero reason. The muted, almost grayscale coloring of the whole scene along with the oversaturated extremely blue cans of Bud is really the cherry on top of the blatant advertising cake to me. But how else would we know that Brondo has electrolytes? Sometimes those scenes are okay. I knew exactly what the link was gonna be, lol. Little. Yellow. Different. The Nuprin inserts still crack me up. They don't even make it anymore, but the commercials live on. When the heroes survive an overblown car crash that would have crippled or killed most people, only to walk away with a scratch. It's not very realistic, even for an action movie. I particularly like Jason Bourne falling down an elevator shaft and walking away because it's okay. He landed on top of the bad guy. Characters acting out of character / being morons just to make the plot work. Immediately makes me see them as puppets for storytelling rather than people, and I stop caring about them. Whenever I say, why would they do that? At a movie, my husband says, because it's in the script. And it brings me back down lol. This includes the wait I can explain without actually explaining plot device, which I can't stand. Scene. Just let me explain. No. Storms out. Reality. Just let me explain. Okay. So why did you text your ex? It's a birthday surprise. He owns an engraving company now. I got you something I needed engraved. Oh. Cool. Edit. I have turned movies off that have totally hinged on this plot. I understand you can be already angry and not wanting to listen to what they have to say, but actual stable adults in trusting relationships do not do this. Find another plot device, writers. This one is dead. Edit 2. For those saying pick another engraving company then. Maybe she knew his talents and chose him specifically because she knew he was really good at his hobby, now career. Besides, people can split amicably. Seriously. One person storms out and the other person just stands there doing absolutely nothing. And never makes an attempt to explain ever again. Not even sending a message that couldn't be ignored or getting someone else to explain, or simply just shouting the reason whilst they walk away. The other person says don't bother and walks away, so apparently they can never explain the legitimate reason again. And in a lot of them they never resolve things by the other person finally finding out the reason either. They actually then go ahead and play out the story as if that person was wrong and they did the misunderstood thing, and then they have to win them back because of this non-existent mistake they made. They seem to think, well, they didn't listen to me just then, oh well, screw our 20 years together, they will never listen to me, they will learn directly and to both our detriment later. Key to drama in a romance movie is poor communication between the couple. If you like the video, hit that subscribe button for more content. I post every day and I'll see you next time with more stories.